So I guess basic introduction should go on. Hi, I'm Kim. We're part of the film club. This is Alberto, and then this is Jesse.
Jessica.
Say hi, guys. Jessica.
I don't like to be called Jesse, just
Okay,
so you know.
Okay, just checking.
Just so you know.
Jessica. All right, don't call me Kimmy then.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Jessica.
Yeah.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica. Hello.
Hey. MiraCosta current events should be...
Well, there's Lovesick.
Lovesick.
Yeah, Beverly's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of other people I know.
Oh.
I think.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Beverly, who is the film club president.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's in it. She stars in it. So, what are some things that we went over in film club that we were really liking? You were talking about what was it? That's why I got this, so we can write it down so we don't forget.
Forgot to write it down. I just wrote down Brie Larson.
In film class that we were learning about.
Oh,
the
class.
phone thing.
Yeah. So our teacher says we shouldn't put a phone or like a text in a movie because that takes away from like the visual. So his excuse was basically people don't go to the movies to read. But I think that if you do it right, it can be a very good tool. Like, for example, if you've seen Love, Simon, it centers around emails. And that's done very well because I feel like at a certain point, if you want to make your movie realistic, you need to have some sort of text or email because that's honestly just part of how life is now. And to not have it just makes it unrealistic.
Yeah, it's actually quite ironic that you say that because that's exactly how I feel when it comes to like that rule that he said about not having phones or text and stuff in movies because nowadays everyone's on their phone. So if you don't see anyone on their phone, that's not really realistic now, is it?
Something's up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that was
I think it's definitely is debatable because there's that new movie coming out called Jexy, and I don't know if it's gonna do well in box office or not. I don't know how well it's gonna do, but it's all about a frickin' phone, and it's like a parody of Alexa and Siri, and it's all about this phone that's just like taking over this guy's life, and it's all about this guy interacting with his phone the entire movie. So, I mean, like, that's how much our culture has been, like, taken over by phones, that we have a whole movie that's about a guy with his phone. So, I mean,
just watch
yeah.
Black Mirror.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you guys seen any of Black Mirror?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's really
I saw
trippy.
that Ashley O episode with Miley Cyrus.
I
Did you
haven't
see that?
That was a
haven't
good
really
one.
seen many of the episodes because, of course, I like to watch things in order, unlike my mother.
Oh.
She has a habit of like seeing sequels or whatever first before an actual like
Movie.
the original first movie.
Yeah.
So
But you don't have to watch the episodes in order. They're
Yeah.
like all
I know.
different from each
Those
other.
don't
Yeah,
really
that-
matter.
I didn't know that about Black Mirror in particular, so I'm trying to watch them in order and they're like numbered differently or all fucked
Yeah,
up and
I've
stuff,
noticed
and I'm
that.
just like, what? I'm trying.
Yeah, that would get confusing, I feel.
Yeah. So, Jesse, how did you know you wanted to like do film, or are you still trying to figure it out?
I'm still trying to figure it out. It's been like a really big journey of me just trying to figure out what the heck I want to do in general. But I've always just been into film and TV and just watching stuff on a screen because I don't like to talk to people. I like to look at stuff on a screen.
Same. I don't like to talk to people either.
Yeah, I like to overanalyze every single thing that I watch, so it's definitely a field that I'm into. I really get invested into like TV shows and stuff, so definitely more than movies. I really like TV shows and YouTube videos. I like things for like short attention spans rather than like long movies, so yeah.
Nice. Alberto, you're up.
I'm up.
Yeah. What do you want to do, and how'd you figure out you wanted to at least go in the film industry or whatever?
Oh, my parents made a porno, so
Oh,
that was a good film.
that's hot.
Yeah.
Wait, you watched it?
Yes.
Oh my god.
No, as a kid, I always just really liked film, so I thought I'll go into directing. And I kind of want to do screenwriting, too. Although I feel like if I wrote something, I couldn't have someone else direct it, because it would just turn out not how I want it, and I would just get mad. So I feel like if I wrote something, I have to direct it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I guess that's one of the biggest fears in Hollywood, especially for writers. If you're a novel writer, Stephen King and John Grisham, I recently had watched a video of their interviews and stuff, and they're just like, obviously they weren't really a fan of having their books made into movie adaptations. They basically said that your novel is not going to end up the way you think it is.
Yeah.
So
because
that
everyone imagines a different thing.
Yeah.
And to have someone else, especially if it's a story that means something to you personally, I feel like having someone else direct it would kind of be like a fuck you.
I feel like any artist just doesn't like to have their work being touched by corporate hands. It's because it's special to them. It comes from their heart. And when someone's putting money all over it, it's it really changes everything for them, because it's not from the person, the individual anymore. It turns into a whole business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it also goes into that the realm of collaboration when it comes down to it. Something that director David F. Sandberg, I'll bring him up again soon, but he went from making short films with his wife in their own little apartment in Sweden to having to go on an actual movie set, and he had to learn how to properly communicate what was going on inside his head to the other people, because he had a whole arsenal of people that he could use to make his vision. And for him, I remember him saying how hard it was to learn how to properly communicate. So I think another hard aspect of the writing part, especially in script writing or whatever, is relinquishing some form of control when it comes down to creating a new piece or something. That I guess most writers, they're a little protective, or maybe a lot protective of their works and stuff, because it's basically their baby, and I think that's definitely understandable. It's just something that's going to have to change once you start getting into the filmmaking aspect. Which part of the writing process do you guys like?
Not the start.
Yeah.
That's my answer to that.
Yeah.
I like the middle, really. I think usually when I write something, I have an idea for one part of the movie, or part of the video or whatever. And I guess that part's the one I enjoy writing the most, because I already have it planned out, and building everything around it is just so complicated. Mm-hmm. Well, if you don't have it thought out. Because once in a while I just think of that would make a really good scene. And I write the scene, and I'm like, what now? You gotta end it.
Yeah.
I haven't really gone into making an actual story structure and getting into having to make a really clear story. I think that's kind of the hard part. But I think the fun part is just coming up with a bunch of ideas all the time, because ideas are always just racing through my head. I'm always thinking about life and seeing things in different ways, and so when I just my mind just puts pieces together, and so it's just fun for me to just write that down. I'm journaling all the time, so it's just and so then I can turn it into a story, or I'll be listening to music a lot, and so I can be very musical in my head. I'll be listening to music that's not even there, and so I'll get ideas for lyrics in my head and stuff, and it's I don't know, I'm just always coming up with ideas, I think.
Is there a specific type of writing that you want to do? Do you want to do songwriting or novels?
Yeah, I'm kind of playing with all of it right now.
Yeah.
I kind of, I just love to write.
Yeah. So for me, I guess my favorite part of the writing aspect is when I finally, after lugging myself to my computer or my notepad and actually writing something down, my favorite part is when I actually start getting on a roll and it just starts flowing out of me. It's really cool, because Stephen King's one of my favorite writers and stuff, and he doesn't like the whole when he writes or starts writing one of his novels, he doesn't do the whole write the last scene or whatever, write the last sentence, or you should always figure out how your story's going to end. He likes to just see where the characters take themselves. He just likes to let them loose and stuff. And for me, I definitely kind of have a guideline for where I want to steer the direction of the story to go. And then I kind of just let it figure itself out from there. I kind of just steer it in the direction, but everything else I kind of just like to let it come out naturally as possible and stuff. And then I just love when I can't stop, and it's one of the greatest feelings in the world for me. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Do you guys have any potential story ideas that you would like to do? Are you guys working on anything in particular?
There was this one idea I've been playing around with in my head. So it's about this guy who has a friend, right? And his friend and him, I don't know if that's how you say it, but whatever. His friend and him are like basically inseparable. And then one day his friend just decides to leave and whatever, And then he decides he wants to go around and tell like his other friends a bunch of stuff that he told them in confidence. So then they start to leave too, but he has to find how to find comfort in the friends that he does have and how to be independent without needing someone to lean on, if that makes sense. So
the dude's trying to get rid of his codependency issues.
Yeah. And he kind of has to at that point. But yeah, I feel like it would make a good.
You wanting to write it as a novel or a screenplay, or?
I feel like a screenplay would be better,
Yeah.
just because I have no idea how to convey emotion through writing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then maybe like a short film or something.
Yeah,
or?
Probably 20 minutes max. I don't know if that counts as a short film. Probably.
Yeah, I can. What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I actually have this idea that I thought of in a dream, because I started writing down my dreams. And so then it just turned into a whole story that I started developing just from writing down different ideas and developing the characters, and it just turned into something really funny that I'm just laughing at. And it's about this pop star that's just crazy, and she's in her 30s and outdated and no one cares about her anymore. And then there's this new fresh pop star, and she's she's younger and she's in her 20s, and then that pop star's trying to get back into fame, trying to get the spotlight back, and she's trying to exact her revenge on that younger pop star.
Yeah.
And I just it's just a funny idea that I had, because it's it's so true in our industry that that the younger pop stars who are in their 20s always get outshine, they they get more attention, and then and then once they go past 30, then people kind of stop caring about them, and it's kind of and I think
actress thing, yeah,
it's true, and I think it's unfortunate, but yeah.
So I guess one of the things that I'm really adamant on doing right now, an idea that I've had, is that I've been researching basically cluster B personality disorders for the past 2 years, just abnormal psychology stuff based around.
I'm taking abnormal psychology right now.
Yeah, I really want to do that. So basically, different types of abuse centered around a term called narcissistic abuse. Completely separate video in its own, and I'll get to that another day. But I want to make maybe an anthology series that would be dedicated to portraying, doing proper portrayals of cluster B personality disorders, like what a real psychopath would be, what a real psychopath would look like and do, and their behaviors and their personality traits, and how they would go about manipulating the people around them. As opposed to what people think they're because of what Hollywood had done with characters like Hannibal Lecter. I think it'd be a really great idea to show people a firm idea of how certain people can be manipulated and abused, and what it can actually the long-term effects that it can have on the victims of this kind of abuse, and proper effects of what certain types of PTSD is, like complex PTSD, and we can go into in depth on it as for how it can affect a person in the long term. And hopefully I can use real resources for how people can find out what's happening to them and to start their own healing process. And I think that'd be a really great idea. Show real world examples of different dynamics in relationships where, let's say you have a narcissistic parent and then you're a child, and I want to show maybe a season or a few episodes with that kind of dynamic, and then like a romantic dynamic where there's an abuser and the other person in the relationship is the codependent, stuff like that. So that's something that I'm really wanting to get into soon, and I'm kind of getting ideas together so I can hopefully maybe do an outline. Any long-term goals for being in the business?
I'm not sure.
I try to set short-term goals. I think it's important because thinking like way too far out into the future I don't think it's good for you, because it's like no one can know like what they're going to do like 20 years from now, 30 years from now. You got to like make small goals of what you're going to do in like 5 months, 6 months.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm not sure, just because I might switch to teaching. Yeah, because I really enjoy it, and I like film, but it's obviously like a pretty risky business, and I like it as long as like they don't make me do it, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like on my own, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But if someone says write a script, I'll be like, no, fuck you. You write a script.
You want to do it on your own time.
Yeah, it's kind of more of a hobby.
Yeah.
But it's still a fun hobby that I can pursue, and hopefully, like one day, like sure, like big name. But overall, I think my goal is more geared towards teaching.
Yeah. I started coming back to school with the intent of just learning how to write in general and learn how to write everything, because I believe that if you learn how to write effectively, that can open the doors to many different avenues. And learning how to write screenplays, stage plays, all songs, poetry, novels, short stories, whatever. I think that could really help, because ultimately I kind of just want to make movies for a living, and I've never had so many more ideas that I want to start doing in my life and stuff, and I kind of just want to do it for an actual living. So that...
The most overwhelming feeling in the world, I think, is like having too many ideas and then not knowing like where to pinpoint it, and like,
or like where to put them.
Yeah, like just like but it's like sometimes you feel like it's like you just have like one thing that you just need to stick to at once, and it's like, but then you're like, oh my god, I want to do this thing, and I want to do that, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and it's like, okay, but I gotta focus on this thing right now.
Yeah. Are there any, like, do you guys have any favorite directors or any favorite movies? Favorite actors?
I like Brie Larson. I feel like she's just like, she's a good director and she's a good actress. Like, she won an Oscar. But if you've seen her movie Unicorn Store on Netflix, it's actually really good. It's not like a heavy movie. It's like a pretty childish movie, but in order to like see the like undertones and the message of it, it's kind of like a more serious topic about like growing up and how to come to terms with it, and if you even like can sometimes. So I feel like that was actually a really good story that she wrote.
Nice. What about you?
And
this is anyone in the industry or any things of note you want to...
Yeah, I'm not sure. I really loved, I don't know, I don't really have any favorite actors specifically, but I can say I really loved Haley Steinfeld's performance in Edge of 17. Like, I was just, like, really impressed by that. Like, you know, I don't know how old she was when she played it, but, like, it was just, like, really accurate portrayal of just, like...
I don't think she was 17.
She probably wasn't 17.
Yeah.
She was probably older. But, I mean, just, like, of that emotional turmoil that you feel at that age of 17, of just being, like, overwhelmed. And just... And her character just, like, was just wanted to die. She was just, like, so overwhelmed by high school and just everything going on that she was just, like, she just wanted to kill herself, and she was just so sad. And Haley Steinfeld pulled off the performance, like, flawlessly. Like, she was just so sad, but she was so, like, blunt, and everything she was saying was just, like, so funny, too, at the same time, so.
I also really like Cate Blanchett.
Oh, yeah,
I think she's
amazing.
such a good actress.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Did you guys see Where'd You Go, Bernadette?
No, I haven't. I really want to.
It was really good.
Amazing.
She acted really well in it, as always. But it shows how you need to have, like, a personal goal for yourself, not just get happiness from, like, other things. Because it's nice to have happiness from your friends, your family, whatever, but you still need, like, something to pursue.
Yeah, I think, well, for one, Cate Blanchett herself is just a phenomenal actor. She's one of my absolute favorites. I haven't seen the movie, but the one that she did where she plays Bob Dylan was just, I think I saw the actual clip that she was in. I'm just like, wow, I really enjoyed it.
Wait, what other movies has she been in?
She's been in a lot.
She was in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I don't know if
she
I've
played
seen her.
Hela. I thought that movie was absolutely hysterical. I think
It
a
was.
good chunk of the comedy was actually ad-libbed.
It was. I think
Yeah.
it was like 75% ad-lib.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I'm mad that they, like, already killed her off. Because I
Yeah.
love her, and
Yeah,
she
that
was
was-
the best part about it.
That was a really great character for her to play. I got a real kick out of it.
Same.
I really loved Carole, where she played basically a woman who ends up having a same-sex affair with the character played by Rooney Mara. I thought it was a really, really beautiful story, kind of heartbreaking. It's one of those dynamics where this is a middle-aged woman who has a family and a life with a husband and children who are also at risk of being taken away from her if people find out that she's having a same-sex relationship with another woman. So I thought that was, and not only that, was it's set in 1950s New York around Christmas time, and it's just one of those really, I feel nowadays, kind of rare movies where it's just so deep in the sense that it's a very real story, and it's just really heartbreaking. I just really loved it, and I thought it was really beautiful, and I thought the performances were absolutely stellar.
Did you see her interview for Cinderella, where they ask her, people love your Disney villain gays, and she thought, like, Disney villain gays, and she goes, oh, I thought you meant gays.
Oh.
It's such a funny interview.
Yeah. I'll have to look that up. I thought she was really great in the Elizabeth movies. Elizabeth, like the Golden Age and stuff. Oh, it was fantastic. I really want to play a character like that someday, where I get to get all decked out in some armor and stuff. I think that'd be really cool.
Some Joan of Arc shit.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. There any actors and actresses you wanna?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really, like, think about actors and actresses, because I'm more into, like, writing and directing. Like, that's the aspect. When I, like, watch a movie, I pay attention more to, like, the writing and, like, you know, like, the script. Like, I don't think about the actors.
Are there any writers or directors you like?
I mean, you know, I don't think about the people. Like, I'm just, like, watching and, like, criticizing the whole script and, like, everything. Like, I'm just breaking down everything. Yeah.
So she's kind of I feel like she's too caught up on it.
Yeah.
Know the names.
To know the names, exactly.
You're too busy reading and analyzing the stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know your name,
Yeah,
but I like what
I
you
don't
do.
know who any of you people are.
Yeah. But I like it. I like your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dialogue kind of comes to my mind right now, and I'm thinking about screenplays and how people write dialogue especially, and the number one person who comes to my mind is Quentin Tarantino with his use of dialogue. His use of dialogue is a fucking trip. Think about Pulp Fiction in general. What was it?
You guys are gonna kill me, but I've actually never seen Pulp Fiction.
Oof.
I know, but I just decided to start reading the script so that I can, like, read that and then watch the movie. I think that would be, like, a better experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sam Jackson, he plays Jules Winfield. He does this, like, monologue kind of bit where he recites some stuff, I think, out of the Bible or whatever, and I'm just like...
Do I look like a bitch? That's straight from the Bible right there.
Do I look... Yeah, that's definitely like... Jesus is really laying it out on them.
Damn right.
Yeah. It's got a great... Pulp Fiction's got a great cast, too, from Tim Roth, Amanda Plummer, John Travolta, Phil Marr, Bruce Willis. Yeah, Uma Thurman, Eric Stoltz. Eric Stoltz is fantastic as well.
I've seen Kill Bill, though. Like that,
yeah.
I think that's the only Quentin Tarantino film I've seen.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like Kill Bill Volume 1.
Volume 2 is also really good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want his last movie to be Volume 3. I know it's not going to happen, though, because Uma Thurman can't move.
Yeah. At least not anymore. Don't tell her I said that.
I'll try.
Have you guys seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood yet?
Yeah.
You?
It's good. Brad Pitt looks ancient, though. He's a good actor, but Christ. I remember back when he was thought of like the handsome dude in movies.
Yeah, I thought his Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, one of those movies where it only reminds you that you're watching a Quentin Tarantino film at the very end.
Oh, yeah.
In the most brutal, obnoxious way ever, and I'm just like...
I liked it.
Oh,
it was like,
God.
Oh, God.
Oh, this is Tarantino. Whoops, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I watched it with my mom because we both love, like, Tarantino movies.
I did, too. Yeah, I saw it with her,
We turned around and I was like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, this is Tarantino.
Yeah, because it was a good script, and after all, it was
Yeah.
based off the Manson murders.
Yeah, and then, I thought the performances were really, oh my god, fucking fantastic. Leonardo DiCaprio just stole the show with that entire movie.
My mom's friend's son worked on that movie as like an intern.
Oh, really?
And he said that DiCaprio was the biggest diva.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, but like Brad Pitt would bring like food for everyone. Like DiCaprio was nice. He was just like a diva, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I for Brad Pitt's character, I did enjoy it, but he was kind of like, I don't want to say like flatline all the way through, but I don't want to say boring, because he definitely wasn't boring, but
I feel like he didn't develop.
he was that character was just super laid back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
I feel like he needed like some sort of like internal conflict.
Yeah.
Kind of like how DiCaprio's character had it.
Yeah. I thought it was a trip of a movie.
Good movie.
Yeah. That scene where, oh my god, Manson himself has his cameo.
I
I'm
know.
just like, oh
Ooh.
shit.
Oh,
that
shit.
dude looks just like him too. And not only that, but I think that guy who played him, what is his name? Once upon...
She has no idea what we're talking about right now.
Wait.
I'm just like, well, I haven't
Yeah.
seen this movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, spoiler alert?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah, so the guy who plays Manson himself,
Is Manson himself.
he actually reprised his role as Manson as well, and I think the new Mindhunter, was it? Yeah, Mindhunter's series where he's doing an interview with two, I guess, detectives or whatever, and the guy's just like, holy shit, his performance was just so fucking creepy. I remember watching some interviews of Manson himself. some of his younger years and stuff. I'm just like, whoa, that's creepy. But yeah, have you guys seen? Speaking of really fucked up people, extremely wicked. What is it called? Extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile.
No, is that a horror movie?
It is the kind of a biopic thing talking about Ted Bundy. And
okay.
Yeah,
he was a serial killer, wasn't he?
Yeah, one of the most horrific ones of all time. Yeah, he's Zac Efron played Ted Bundy, and Lily Collins played one of his girlfriends, Liz Kendall. So this story goes in from the victim's perspective. The synopsis reads, a chronicle of the crimes of Ted Bundy from the perspective of Liz, his longtime girlfriend, who refused to believe the truth about him for years. So there was a lot of controversy surrounding this movie, saying that there was a lot of worry saying that this movie was going to glorify Ted Bundy and his murders and stuff, not really...
But here's the thing, like, this movie's rated R. I can see that. And
Yeah.
movies like that, or like Taxi Driver, or the new Joker movie, are rated R for a reason.
Yeah.
So, if people are worried about, like, people being influenced, they should, like, know that the rated R is because of that. Like, for example, a lot of parents are complaining because they took their kids to watch the Joker movie thinking, oh, it's just a DC movie, like,
No.
it'll be fine. But that movie is, like, about how a dude went crazy and then killed a bunch of people.
I feel like any movie starring, like, a mentally unstable person is going to be rated R.
Yeah, and precisely because you have to be an adult to watch it and not think it's a good idea to do that. You have to understand that the people were, like, medically not okay.
Yeah, so for this movie, there was a lot of worry that this was going to glorify Ted Bundy and what he did, and then people were, like, freaking out, saying that this movie was showing it was showing him in, like, a really charming light. But the thing is that as I was reading the comments, I was remembering that they're literally portraying Ted Bundy as he actually was.
Yeah.
Real psychopathy, real psychopaths, real cluster B personality disorders. They are incredibly manipulative. They're master manipulatives, and one of their weapons is the use of charm.
Yeah.
And Ted Bundy was a very charming person. In almost every single interview that I've seen of people who knew him, they all say the same thing about him. Oh, I never thought that a guy like him would actually be capable of doing something like this. Yeah, and that's exactly the reason why people like Ted Bundy got away with it, in my opinion, was because he counted on the fact that, like, you or me or anyone would think that a person like him, a handsome, all-American
like,
dream guy like him, would never be capable of doing something like this.
Yeah.
So that's exactly how he got away with it, and this movie is showing that in its entirety, and people aren't really getting that.
Like, I'm gonna, like, turn this into a whole, like, psychology thing, but, like, that's the thing with, like, sociopaths and, people along that, like, spectrum and stuff. Like, a big symptom of it is that they know how to charm people really well. They know how to, like, put on an act and, like, fake their emotions and stuff to, like, because they know how to, like, mimic people really well, and that's, like, how they get away with it. I'm not saying, and not all, like, sociopaths, like, are serial killers, and all of them, like, kill people, but, like, ones that do, especially, they know how to, like, play a game and, like, put on a fake face to be able to,
like, even people who like manipulate people, they want, like, first they have to like gain their trust and not, like, set off any flags, and then they try to, like, okay, like, if I do this and this, they, like, test small stuff to see what they can get away first.
They test the victim's boundaries. Yeah,
and then when they know that they can do it, they, like, start doing, like, whatever they need to do with, I don't know why, but they'll start, like, explaining things as if they'll explain it in a way that doesn't make them wrong. So
they'll justify it by use of something called word salad. They'll kind of just throw shit at you to confuse you, basically.
Yeah.
For example, like, let's say, I'm not admitting to anything here, and let's say I go kill someone, and then my friend comes up to me, and he's like, oh my gosh, why'd you do that? Like, blah, blah, blah. I can, like, tell him, like, oh, like, he did this to me, and he did this to me, like, to the point where he believes, like, he's either super confused, or he, legit believes that it was the right thing to do. And I feel like a lot of times when someone gets manipulated like that, they lose track of what's right and wrong, just because of like how weird or like how complicated the explanations were.
Mm-hmm. Have you guys read all about gaslighting and all that?
Oh yeah, I know a thing or two
about how they know how to like pin it on you and make it feel like it's all your fault. And
basically, arguing with a cluster B is like arguing with the police. Anything, and I mean anything you say or do can and will be used against you.
Yeah.
That's basically what they do.
They just like pinpoint your insecurities.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're really good at sniffing those things out.
But they also like have to keep up that like personality and charisma. Yeah. That way you don't just think that, oh, they're a dick. That way when you think of them, they're like, oh, they have their problems, but they're still my friend. Like.
Then that's another thing is that we also, the victims or the targets, tend to justify their actions because some part of us, I believe, definitely wants to believe in the good in them until we realize what they really are. So I think they kind of test your boundaries to see how much they'll get away with. And for most targets of cluster Bs, they a lot of people I say maybe have some amount of codependency to them, so I think that kind of makes it easier for certain people to be targeted by manipulative people. So yeah.
They definitely prey on, like, the most sensitive people, the caring people, the ones that know how to see the good in others.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is a film podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
going off topic.
And then, well, not exactly, because
not really, because I feel like psychology plays a lot in
it does.
film.
And then in writing.
And then the best films deal with psychology.
Yeah, and then Bolin said in one of the first classes we had is that, like, basically you're going to be a psychologist by the end of this class because basically you're going to have to learn how to write people.
Yeah.
And rate them effectively and realistically.
Yeah, that's why I kind of want to like minor in psychology. And before like I knew that I wanted to get into like film and stuff, like all I wanted to do was like psychology. Like I was like taking child development classes like crazy, and like that was just like my main interest was just like psychology, and you know it was just like what I thought I wanted to do. So I think I just want to like combine those two things, and I think that it will like make me a better writer if I can understand psychology really well and put it into my writing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's also what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Is learn more about basically how people work, and especially abnormal psychology. So I think that was really a good idea to take some psychology classes. And then
I'm failing my psychology class.
Yeet.
Yeet.
Yeah, have you guys seen Joker yet?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I haven't.
Okay.
Wait, I thought we talked about this already.
I couldn't remember. I can barely remember what
I
happened 5 minutes
mentioned
ago.
it.
Oh.
But we talked about it before we started filming.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna do a review on it for my own channel.
You have a channel?
Yeah.
Epic.
Yeet.
Yeet. Is that what it's called?
No.
Oh.
But yeah, the general thing that I really liked about it was the thing that people I feel in a sense aren't realizing is that how realistic it is, because this is I remember Todd Phillips, the director, and Joaquin Phoenix himself both saying in interviews that this is a character study of a comic book villain. So.
And like, honestly, you watch the movie, it doesn't even feel like a comic book movie. It just feels like a fucking Taxi Driver film.
Yeah, which
is it's a good thing.
It was heavily inspired by
Taxi Driver.
And then Robert De Niro's character in Joker was also inspired partially by his character in King of Comedy as well. Mm-hmm. So it is the film itself. If you've seen any of Scorsese's films, you will see the Scorsese influence, which I think he was actually originally set to direct, but then he dropped out due to conflicting schedules with The Irishman, which Robert De Niro also stars in that.
So either way, he got the check.
I guess. Well, he's definitely part of it, I guess. Yeah, even though it's possibly mostly through influence. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I thought Joaquin was absolutely phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Horrifyingly, like, it's so real. And I think that people are so up in arms right now about it. I think that's mostly due to the media kind of blowing it out of proportion. Yeah. But I think people are so...
When I went to watch it, they wouldn't sell, like, single seats. They had a sign saying, like, you need to be with someone because we're not just going to sell you one ticket.
Yeah, right? That's nuts, actually.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I kind of want to see it now, but no, I just don't know.
I mean, I'm sure not all movie theaters doing that.
Yeah,
but,
I think...
the one I went to.
I think I did hear that one theater actually...
and then
decided not to screen the movie in general.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's lame.
And then, yeah, I think the number one thing why people are really nervous about this movie is how realistic it is.
Mm-hmm. So. I think because a lot of people think it's justifying, like, a murderer, like basically a hate symbol. Because in the comic books, he's basically that. He's all in all a villain and, like, a looted, even rapist. And people are just, saying, oh, I don't want to see him being justified. But it's not him being justified. It's him being explained.
Yeah,
and after all, a villain is just a victim whose story hasn't been told yet. And while some choices that they have made aren't right, that there's still a reason behind them. Well, no one just says, I'm going to go murder someone. They have to have a reason behind it. And a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to see the reason behind it.
Yeah.
And they can just not watch the movie.
And it's like something along the lines of, I remember someone had mentioned that they sell kids' clothes with the Joker on them and stuff. And I'm thinking, like, first off, this is a villain. Yeah. Second of all, if you knew the shit that this villain has done throughout his history in comic book fandom or whatever, why would you want your kid walking around with that thing on his person?
Like maybe like the Lego Batman version where it's just really he just wanted Batman's attention, and that's fine, like whatever. But
do a Lego murder.
But if you're walking around with a Joaquin Phoenix Joker of him stabbing a bitch in the crotch, there's something wrong with that. That's really on the parents, not the movie.
Yeah.
If parents don't want their kids to be influenced by the movie, then don't let them watch the movie.
Yeah, and not only that, it's fucking rated R, dude.
I know, it's rated R for a reason, and it's a really good reason.
Yeah, and oh my god, there was a lot of controversy when Deadpool first came out about that. You know, it is rated R for a reason. Yeah. Then I've heard numerous cases where parents have taken their young kids to
even Logan
to see Deadpool and stuff,
and then they complained. I think my friend worked at a movie theater around that time, and he's like, they would complain, but
they certainly don't like kids into the theaters without a parent for a reason because it's the parents' responsibility,
not the theaters.
And then I saw there's one case with a Deadpool screening where parent took their young child into a obviously R-rated movie.
Just watch the trailer.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And then they complained that, it was so violent and stuff. And I'm just like...
I feel like I would rather take my kid to go watch Deadpool than Joker, though.
Yeah.
I feel like if I take him to go watch Deadpool, they'll grow up. What they'll get from it is, I can say a bunch of bad words, and I can go around having sex with people. Yeah. And that's basically it. But they come out of Joker being like, we live in a society and I must destroy it. Like, whoa.
And then I think I'd actually found out that Ryan Reynolds himself did like a little short clip where he filmed himself before the movie starts. It's played just before the movie. Mm-hmm. He graphically starts telling how babies are made. He starts talking about sex and how,
Love that.
Deliberately warning parents not to bring your kids into this fucking movie.
Which shouldn't be the responsibility of him in the first place. Which, I mean,
know.
good for him.
He shouldn't even have to
He's
do
nice,
that, but like...
But hey, a ticket for Deadpool, please. Right next to it is rated R. You have to look past the rating to get the showtime.
Yeah. People are just...
people are stupid.
People are special breed of stupid.
We live in a society.
People just love to like shift blame on everyone else.
Yeah.
I'm a bad parent and I'm gonna blame the movie business.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you'd like to do? I think that was pretty good.
I'm gonna put a jacket on. It's cold in here.
Word.
Well,
Not as cold as my soul.
Well, I'm right under the AC, so that might be why.
All right. So I think this is a good time to stop for the first one.
Epic.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm Kim. This is Jessica. This is Alberto. And we'll probably be back again soon.
We've been the Breakfast Club.
How about the Afternoon Club? Don't you?
It's like 4 p.m.
Right? We're the Breakfast Club.
The dinner time.
It's fucking 5.
Me waking up at noon, eating breakfast at 5.
Yeah.
Epic.
All right. Sweet. Party on, Wayne.